This is the Franchise QB Podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to win big in franchising. We huddle up weekly to educate our audience about the most successful small business model ever created, franchising.
Welcome to the Franchise QB Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Halpern, a 20-year industry veteran and entrepreneur. My mission is for listeners to achieve their American dreams of creating wealth and independence through franchise ownership. Every week, we speak with franchisees, franchisors, or vendors that support the industry. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Joining us in the huddle today is Devan Klunder, franchise owner at Doody Calls. Welcome to the show, Devan.
Good to be here, sir. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. So you're a military police officer with the U.S. Navy. Thank you for your service to our great country. And launched your Doody Calls franchise 1 year ago in March of 23. So you're balancing your military duties and your Doody Calls franchise. So you're actually working double duty. I had to sneak that dad joke in there. I'm sure you're kind of sick of the puns being in this space, but I had to do it. You are the sixth location in the great state of Texas. And now that are 8, there are Houston, Katy, Tyler, Austin, Frisco, San Antonio, and Melissa, as well as your location. So before we get into the Doody Calls franchise, tell us the Devan Klunder story. Tell us about your family.
So I grew up California, San Diego, raised up there my whole life. Met my wife in San Diego. We stopped talking for a couple of years, and then I randomly messaged her on Instagram. We started talking again about hikes and stuff like that. And at that time, I was stationed in Washington State, working over there at Bangor. And we fell in love again. And then we've had 2 kids now. I have a son. His name is Teo. He's 3.5. My daughter, Luna, who just turned 2. They are everything to me. My wife, she does medical sales.
Very cool.
Yes, sir. And I grew up in San Diego, like I said. But the reason I was so interested in doing more than just the military was I grew up kind of poor. So that life experience of like being able to struggle and go through life and then try and provide more and more for my family. So to the point where I can just continue to work and then maybe hopefully one day just retire and then be home with my kids 24/7.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing that backstory with us. So let's talk about the Doody Calls business model. We scoop poop. That's kind of the tagline. Residential, commercial, municipal, all of the above. What do you guys do?
So right now I'm 100% residential. I pick up we have 69 clients, ranging from twice a week to 4 times a week to once a month, twice a month. I've been trying to break into the HOA and apartment complexes, but most apartment complexes have like their gardeners and stuff like do that, so it's a little bit harder to get into their HOAs. They do like quarterly meetings, maybe every couple months, so it's a new avenue I'm trying to break into also. But right now I'm 100% residential.
Okay, yeah, appreciate that. I can see how once you land those larger HOAs, it will be really great for your business. But those are kind of relationship sales that'll probably take a little bit of time to land. But once you do, I can see how that would be really, really helpful. So how did you learn about the Doody Calls opportunity? Obviously, there's a lot out there in franchising, and this is a very niche concept. How did you find out about this one?
So I started doing research because we had a house in California, and then I got orders here to Texas, Corpus Christi. We were able to make some good money off our house. And then I was like, instead of just like buying a new car, being done with the money, I was like, I should reinvest it to something that's going to further myself and my family. And I was like, what kind of business was going to work with my schedule? Because I work a Panama schedule, which is 2-2-3 schedule, which is 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, and it rotates every work set. And so I worked quite a bit for the Navy, working active military. We work about 12 to 14-hour days. And I was like, I need to find a business that can work with my schedule. And then I was like researching, and I found Doody Calls, and I was like, that's something I'd like to do because like I can work part-time for the business, still run accounting, all that kind of stuff, and still be able to work with the Navy. I looked at other businesses, but most of them were like, oh, you need 40 hours a week. You need to invest 80 hours a week. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of time eventually. But it panned out and worked really great with Doody Calls to be able to grow with them and learn. And it worked perfectly because my schedule, I can work with the Navy and then still do duty calls, and then run the business from the side and stuff like that. Because right now I have
Yeah, very
about
cool.
2 employees.
Okay. So, what was the timeline? So, you launched the business last March of 23, and you relocated, as you mentioned, from San Diego, California to Corpus Christi, Texas. What was the timeline of the relocation and the launching of your business? How did that all kind of fall into place?
So my wife got here earlier than me. She got here in October. I got here in like February. Um, I finally found the business Duty Calls in March, and I was able to like lock it down. I was like, I want this. I want to do it. And then from there, it took about a month to open officially because I started in March. But like finding the truck during COVID, like the truck rates and like that were super high, and just trying to balance everything so I'm not overspending and or like not having enough money. So it took about a month to open, and then was officially open like April. So I got my first client was April 3rd.
Okay, very cool. Coming up on a year. Very neat. So, let's talk about your military background. How do you feel like that has translated to success in business ownership? I mean, do you feel like there's a correlation between the training that you received and the way that you've kind of, worked with the Navy and how you're operating your business?
Yes, sir. A lot of it, from leadership to time management to working with Excel and like budgeting, and then making my time work for me, and then always punctual, and then training. I would say like everything I do is like time oriented. Like I know what I'm do here, do there to break down everything. Because I also go to school. Unfortunately, I started school. I was like, why not add more to the mix and add school to it? So I was like, if I'm gonna do it all, I'm gonna do it all. And with my military background from being a military police officer, I'm like hands on with everything. And so my motto is just like never give up. Like you're gonna fail, you're gonna make mistakes, but in the military, you always get back up and keep pushing through.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I can see with team building skills. You mentioned you have a few employees. We'll talk about that in a minute. Being calm under pressure, the ability to think on your feet, and veterans make up about 14% of franchise owners nationwide. Um, I know the franchisors, looking at the other perspective, they're always looking for veterans because of those things you mentioned. They make great owners. They know how to operate within the framework of a good system. And once you have that system in place, it's all about execution. So it sounds like you thrive in that environment, which is really cool. So let's talk about, you mentioned before, instead of buying a car, let's buy business and set up my family, which I love. And that's great. It's smart. A lot of young people don't make that decision. So the Duty Calls franchise disclosure document shows a startup cost of 64 to 83,000. Was that an accurate range for the amount that you had to invest all in to kind of launch your business?
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty accurate because you do the investment fee. It was about 64,000, but if you're military or a veteran, it's 5,000 off, I believe. So it's about 60,000 almost. And then the truck itself was the biggest expense, but I paid monthly payments on that. So I bought that and then payments. And then the equipment to buy is super cheap. You buy like your duty scoopers, your trash can pickuppers, your bags. The most expensive part was honestly the truck and then investment fees, and then trying to find the right insurance to work with you and stuff like that.
Okay, very cool. So what is your secret to success in franchising? If you had to pick out a couple things that made you successful in your business, what would they be?
Um, it's a good question. So I would say never giving up. Like I said earlier, like you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna be like, "Wow, I could have done this better. Wow, I could have fixed this." But once you go back and review what you can improve on, make those improvements. Don't be afraid to fail. Like you're gonna fail no matter what. No one's 100% perfect. Like my first HOA I talked to, I was like nervous, and then like they could pick up on that. So then like my next one, I was like, I'm gonna do a presentation in front of my wife. So I did a presentation in front of her, and she was like, okay, you're getting better with it. You're getting more fluid. Because I've done like training. Because I was a crew serve weapon instructor for the military also. I've done presentations. I've done teamwork building, all that kind of stuff. But it's a little different when you talk to like six people and they're all like, we make this choice if yes or no, if you're going to go with us and stuff like that. And then
Right.
they get back to you like, oh, it's a quarterly meeting. So my biggest things is don't be afraid to fail, get back up, um, always push through. Like the worst the person's going to tell you is no. Like
Hmm.
it was super different going door to door, handing out flyers, and people in Texas are like, I'm okay, thank you. Or like they like no disturb times and stuff like that. So just being able to push yourself and make sure you grow yourself.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It makes sense. So tell me a little bit about your team. You mentioned you have two employees. So I'm assuming you're doing a W-2 model where they work for you. How is your crew? How did you find those guys? Are you seeing turnover, or are these, they're pretty happy with, their role, and you feel like there's some longevity there with your team?
Definitely a good team. My buddy Vidania, Kevin, he came on as my first employee. He works in the military also, so I know like he's a go-getter. He loves to work. He's a family man also, so no, he pushes through everything just like I do. And so that was a great fit for me, and it worked out perfectly because we're on the opposite side of the house. So like when I say that, like I'm off Monday, he's off Tuesday, and so like it rotate, and it worked out perfectly for us because I would still pick up the duty poop and stuff like that, and then I would also run the business, and then my off days I would try to do HOA at apartment complexes, and then he would do the other days I'm off. Other employee, she just got hired about a month ago. She's been doing pretty well. She's a little bit slower than I like, but it's like those teaching environments of like where you can help them grow, and you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to fire you because you're slow. It's like you can
Right.
teach them to be better and stuff like that. So it's been a good success so far.
So you can pretty easily, I wouldn't say easily, but you can convert this from a kind of an owner operator to a semi absentee or an executive owner model by finding the right people to go out and do the work. And then just, you as the owner focus on client acquisition and kind of building your book of business. Is that a fair statement?
That is exactly true. Yes.
Okay. So do you currently, are these one-off customers? Do you find that it's a lot of repeat business? Is there a recurring revenue model here? Like, what's a really good client for you look like?
So currently I have, like I said, 69 customers. About four are on pause because they're building pools or like their summertime, but 64 current right now. And with that, I've had customers that range from about 11 months to about 1 month that just joined us. But we've only had, I believe, a total of five cancellations.
Wow, that's
But
pretty good.
most of our, yeah, so far. Um, we have like one-time customers, which is every now and then, but most of the time ours are reoccurring from weekly to bi-weekly to 2 times a week. We also have one that's 4 times a week. He is a dog trainer called K9 Elite, and like he does what is it, boarding for dogs also. So we do
Wow,
like every model for service and stuff like that.
very cool. So it sounds like the business is off to a fast start. Like, what are your ambitions? I mean, within your territory, how many customers would you like to see, let's say, in the next year? Do you want to like double the size of it? Do you want to triple the size of it? What do you think is realistic and ambitious? 'Cause I know you have to set really big goals to achieve them.
Yes, sir. So I would say realistically, I would want to at least double it. If I could, I want to triple it, but then it would have to grow on another scale. I'd have to hire more employees, get another truck, and stuff like that. But realistically, I can get at least 70 more.
Okay, awesome.
Just because the biggest, hardest part, honestly, starting the franchise was getting my name out there because no one's like ever heard of like pet waste management, and then it's just a little bit harder to get out here, getting like locally recognized and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you hit the 1 year mark. That's a huge accomplishment. A lot of businesses don't make it to that 1 year. So, if you were to look back a year ago, what key learnings have you made that you would do differently if you launched today? Like anything that would just be different? It's like, and I know some of that is just you have to learn it on the job. You have to make those mistakes. You have to have those small failures that don't kill you, but they knock you down. You get back up. But is there like a key finding or group of findings that you started today, you would do differently than you did a year ago?
Yes, I would. So I started my LLC here in Texas. After doing some research and stuff like that, there is some states that are more friendly tax law wise. So I would do probably an LLC at a different location just because they offer more like confidential information wise as
Okay.
an owner. And then like of course you see like TikTok and Instagram like, oh, started a business and 5 easy steps. Doing my homework probably would have been my biggest thing. Like the behind the scenes of like finding your credit card processors to finding your advertisements, what's your biggest hits, what helps you grow and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you found that, like, to acquire clients, is it a blend of just old school door knocking and just canvassing the neighborhoods coupled with digital marketing? Do you find it's 50-50? Is it like really heavy on kind of face to face? Like, what's the best way that you found to acquire these new clients?
So surprisingly, is going to be our yard signs.
Hmm.
So in Texas law, the law manual, you can't use the first piece of grass. So like say you're driving on the regular street, that first piece of grass, you can't put a yard sign.
Okay.
But the second piece of grass that a homeowner owns, you can put like a yard sign in there. Of course, you have to ask the homeowner if it's okay with them, and most of the time they're okay with it because they know that the city's going to pick it up eventually. So then I put it in the second piece of grass, and I've made about, I would say, at least 75 to 80% off the yard signs of clientele because like if you like do like statistics wise, it takes a person about 7 to 9 times to see something before they actually see it when they're driving, just because like they get in that mindset of driving home. But once they see something 6, 7 times, they're like, "Hey, what's Duty Calls?"
Yeah.
And then they look it up and they're like, "Oh, that's what they do? Okay, that's a cool service." And then they call us and give us a text or something like that.
So are there any local rules where you have to take the signs down every day or every week? How does that work?
So as long as I'm not putting them in the first piece of grass, I can have them there as long as the homeowners are okay with it.
Okay.
Most homeowners are okay with it for about 3 to 4 days, and then they'll be like, "Hey, here's my number if you want to text me if the yard sign bothers you or anything." But usually they don't mind because it's like they have a little fence and they have a little piece of grass, and the yard signs are about 18 by 24.
And are these actual like clients of yours that are giving you permission to do that?
Some of them, yes.
Okay, and some of them are not, and they just say, "Yeah, go ahead."
No, I just tell them who I am. I'm like, "Hey, sir, my name is Devan Klunder, Doody Calls. I'm a new franchise owner out here in Corpus Christi. I am also active in the military, and this is what I'm starting to do. I'm trying to branch out from the military and then expand my horizon and do more things." And they're more than willing to help usually. They're like,
Heck
"Okay,
yeah! I
cool. That
mean,
seems nice."
that makes perfect sense. I mean, I like the transparency, and it feels like they're helping you out, and that's a good feeling.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about the support you're getting from the franchisor. So Duty Calls is part of the umbrella of franchise brands that's owned by Authority Brands. So talk to me a little bit about the training you went through and the ongoing marketing and operational support. So what's it like going through the training program? Did you find that it was really helpful? Are they there for you when you run into challenges because business is tough and curveballs get thrown your way? How's the franchisor been at Duty Calls so far since you launched your business?
It's been amazing. Big shout out to Larry, who's the CEO now. I have Paul, Jennifer, and Amy. Those are my biggest supporters, and they're like the top growing branches and stuff like that. Anytime I have a question, I'll call Amy or Paul. It can be at like 9 p.m. at night or 6 a.m. and they get back to you within an hour or two, or they'll actually pick up at 9 p.m. and stuff like that, and they'll answer questions because I have had questions about accounts that aren't receiving billables and stuff like that. Amy's like, "Here's what you got to do," and I'm like, they make my life so much easier when they
That's great.
have like any questions. They can help me 100% of the time.
Okay.
The training portion was pretty good. I would say the only thing I had was like maybe have one of them actually fly out for a day to run through some stuff with me and whatnot because mine was all virtual.
Hmm.
But other than that, everything virtually was fine for me because it worked with my schedule because I'm not able to fly out to wherever the training one would be at.
Okay.
So it worked out perfectly.
So let's talk about the peer network. I mean, one of the benefits of franchising is you're not in this business alone. There's other people around Texas and around the country that are operating the same business model. Have you been able to form relationships with other owners that are helpful in helping you avoid mistakes? And I'm sure that you would pay it forward as well if someone called you and said, "Hey, I just invested in a Duty Calls franchise. I'm looking to grow. You're the guy. You're crushing it. Like, how do I do that?" Do you find that it's like reciprocal in terms of getting help from other owners and then also providing help to some newbies?
Yeah, so I've actually had people that are looking to buy a franchise with us and stuff like that. They usually give my number out and be like, "Hey, someone's going to be reaching out to you about this," and they'll give me a call and I'll tell them the biggest flaws, the biggest bonuses with Duty Calls, and then what my personal experience has been. For my peers, honestly, anyone I call usually picks up or responds to my email, and they'll help me with like HOA questions or advertisement and stuff like that. So the peers that we have that have been with the business for quite a while are super helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, yeah, we've covered a lot of ground here. Is there anything else you want to share about your experience of being an owner before we wrap up?
Um, I would say just don't give up. Like, don't be afraid to start a new franchise. Don't be afraid to go out there and fail because um, his name's David, not David Hawkins. What is it? Dave Ramsey. He has a lot of books out there that are like entrepreneurship, and he talks about his actual failures. Like he failed when he was like 25 to 30 years old, and he got back up and kept trying. Like that was my biggest motivator, is like see someone fail and that actually made it. Like it was willing to actually talk about his story and push through all that, and then just continue to grow and then be willing to welcome the new experiences.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to do as human beings. You know, we have egos, and it's hard to admit when we fail, and we all fail. But you know, when it becomes public, then there's like that shame factor and embarrassment, things like that. So to be able to kind of just look that in the eye and get through it and get back on your feet and succeed, I mean, that's a real testament to your character. So that's really awesome, and congrats on your early success. I know that you're just getting started. But if anybody listening would like to connect with Doody Calls to see if there's an available territory, contact me at franchiseqb.com or on Twitter at QBFranchiseQB. I'll get you connected with their team. Thank you, Devan, so much for not only serving our country, but taking the time to get in the huddle and speak with us about your experience as a franchise owner with Doody Calls.
Thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate meeting you and all the good time.
Awesome. Thanks, Devan. Thank you for listening to the Franchise QB podcast, where you're at the helm of your future as a franchise owner. If you enjoyed the content, please rate the show and recommend it to anyone that might be interested in franchising. Make sure to visit franchiseqb.com to subscribe to my newsletter and for an actionable playbook to go from walk-on to legend in your new business. Follow us on Twitter at QBFranchiseQB and join us every week for a new episode. See you next time.
Visit franchiseqb.com to take the next step of your journey towards wealth, independence, and franchise ownership. And remember, when working for the man gets old, you must do something bold. Thank you for listening.